I have some candy melts here. I've got yellow, pink, and purple. I'm just going to get a little brush, and I've heated these in the microwave on the defrost mode. I'll get them in there like that. And then I'm just going to start painting some little lines or designs all over the place. No rules, just do any kind of little design that you wish. But make sure that it's thick enough, because we're going to be pouring chocolate in later on. I'll do a yellow one. So you get the idea. Let's do a little bit of a pink one. So you want to do any kind of design that you like. So I'll do a few more of these. I'll come back in a minute. And that looks good. Now I'm going to pop these into the fridge for about 2 minutes, just so that the candy melts harden up, and then we'll do another little contrasting color. Okay, so I just brought these out of the fridge, about 2 minutes in there just to harden up the candy. So let's go with the purple, and we'll add in a little bit of color contrast. Let's go with a little bit of yellow, maybe right in the middle. And do any design you like. No rules. That looks pretty good. I'm just going to let these set up, and then we're going to fill them with chocolate. And then our next step is to start filling our little molds with chocolate. So I'll get some white chocolate into this one. And this one. Do a little tap. Always give your mold a little tap before adding your little bit of final chocolate, just so that you don't go over too much. This allows you to show what's really in that mold. See, that's about right. Move over here. Which one should I do? I'm going to do this. I'm going to do a dark chocolate in that one there, and in that one, and that one. So I'll go with a white here as well. Okay, that's good. Okay. So now I've got my beautiful dark chocolate, and I'm going to start filling up the rest of the cavities. You can tap your spoon like this, and what it does is it makes it go more even. So if you don't want to do the tapping thing, you can do that first. And our last one. Do a little bit of a tap. And I'd say that's perfect like that. I'm going to take this now and just gently tap it. And then I'm going to pop this into my fridge for about 10 minutes. Okay, So our chocolates have been in the fridge for a good 10 minutes, and look at that, already one has just popped right out. We'll just give it a little tap. And there we have it. Perfect. So we'll just get all these together and we'll just zoom in and check them out. So I've just zoomed in and I've also plated these. My voice may sound a little different because I'm very close to the camera now. But you can see the nice little design, and you can do any designs that you wish. This is what I did. You can do whatever you wish, but this is a really, really fun one to do with your children. Now you could take each half of the egg and glue them together by putting a little bit of chocolate on each side and then sticking them together. But these things are really, really large, so I find they're just better eaten just like this, because if you've got a big egg that large and it's not hollow, these are solid inside, it's a lot of chocolate to eat at one time. So they're really best served, you know, a half an egg like this. So I hope you enjoyed this video. That's it for today, and I'll see you next time. Making some really, really yummy Nutella-filled milk chocolates. You're going to need some Nutella, your favorite chocolate mold, and some beautiful milk chocolate. So let's get on with the video. I have a piping bag here ready to go. I'm going to fill it with some Nutella and I'll be back in a second. So I'll just get this beautiful Nutella into my piping bag, and this is just going to make it super, super simple to get the filling into our beautiful milk chocolate cavities. So I'll get some of that in here. I'd say that's enough. That looks good. And then I'm just going to get my little thing here ready to go. So just before we start, I just wanted to show you this little chocolate mold. Very inexpensive. It cost me about $2 online. And so what are we going to do? I'm going to get this on screen here, and I'm just going to start applying a little bit of chocolate to each one of the cavities. We're going to be piping in our beautiful Nutella, so you don't want to overfill these because we're going to need to put more milk chocolate onto the top. So I just want to get a little bit like that. And then take your spoon and just move that chocolate around a little bit just to see how much is in each one, to make sure you haven't overfilled it. These are not even halfway filled. Okay, that looks good, like that. So now I'm ready to go with my piping bag. I have a very small tip on here, and this is going to make this super easy to fill all the cavities. So I'm going to get right down, right into the middle, give a little bit squeeze, perfect. Go down and give a little bit of a squeeze. Now what's happening here, you can actually see the Nutella is displacing that chocolate. The Nutella is actually thicker than the milk chocolate, so what it's doing, it's keeping its shape and it's kind of staying away from the chocolate so that you can see that it's not mixing together. So as I push the piping bag, it's pushing that chocolate down and up around the sides, and that's exactly what we want. Now if you're doing this just with spoons, it's going to be a little bit harder, but you could use 2 tiny spoons and you will be able to accomplish the same thing. So I'm going to go down, give it a little push. You can see the chocolate going up. And I hear you right now, you're saying, zoom in, I can't see anything. Okay, so let me zoom in and then we'll do the rest of them. Okay, I've zoomed in just so I could show you this first row. So I'll start over here. So get your piping tip right in here. And don't worry if it touches the chocolate, and just give it a good squeeze. And you'll see that chocolate starting to go up on the side. Just like that. Give a little squeeze. And you can see how easy it is with the piping bag. Perfect. And you could do the same thing with caramel, as you've seen me do it in another one of my recipes. You can also do this with peanut butter. And that's perfect. And there we have it. So let me just zoom out a little bit. And then I'm just going to grab my mold and just tap it. So this is going to make the surface nice, but it's also going to have the air bubbles leave the actual chocolate. So any air bubbles that are in there, they will want to come to the top. They'll surface to the top. Okay, that's good. And now I'm going to pop these into the fridge for about 5 minutes. I just want to chill these down a little bit before we add our last layer of milk chocolate. So I just brought these out of the fridge. They were in there about 5 minutes. And you can see that the chocolate is actually set up and we're ready to go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put the little footing or the bottom part of the chocolate right on there, like that. So a little bit on each one. We just want to cover up anything that's left of that Nutella. We want to get that right on there. And if you wish, you can use a piping bag and pipe on the chocolate like we used the piping bag to put the actual Nutella filling into our chocolates. But this is fine. This is fun, very relaxing. So just take your time, get a little bit on there. Okay, that looks good. And then, again, just tap, tap, tap. You can see that everything's spreading out really nicely. Okay, that looks good. And now what I'm going to do differently, I'm going to pop these into my freezer because these need to be really, really chilled. When we flip it over and we tap it, if they're really, really cold, they'll all pop out without a problem. So I'm going to pop these into my freezer for probably about 10 minutes. Okay, so my chocolates have just come out of the freezer. I'm going to turn them over and hopefully they're all going to start popping out. So just a gentle tap. If you find that some of them refuse to come out, you just put this back into the freezer again and they will come out. And there we go. So I'll just pull all of these to the center here so you can see them. I'll get a cutting board and let me zoom in. Okay, so let's cut into this and see how nice it is inside. I'll flip it around so you can see. And let's zoom in. So here we are a lot closer up. So we have the bottom layer of chocolate. That was our last addition of chocolate. And then we have the actual shell, which goes all the way around. And we have our beautiful Nutella in the middle. So a really, really nice chocolate. Super easy to make. You saw me make them. I hope you try it at your house. So that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you wish. I really do appreciate that. So that's it for today, and I'll see you next time. Today I'm going to show you how to quickly make some really, really delicious Nutella-filled milk chocolates. I have some beautiful milk chocolate here, some Nutella in a piping bag, and a silicone mold. I'm going to grab my nice milk chocolate, and I'm going to start filling up these cavities. And I want to go a little bit less than halfway up. So that's our first step. Once they're all filled, just take your spoon and just push them down so that you can really see how much you've put in there. I don't want to go halfway up, just a little bit less than halfway. But I do want to have enough in there because I don't want my Nutella to be popping through the top of the chocolate. So I'd say that's good. Like that. Put it onto a little board. Just tap it. Then we'll grab our beautiful Nutella. And then I'm just going to get the piping tip right in the middle, and I'm going to give a little bit of a squeeze. And as I do that, you can see the chocolate now is starting to go around the Nutella. So get in there, give a little push, just like that. Let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, I've just zoomed in just to show you a little better. So get your nozzle right in there, and then just give a little bit of a push. And as you press, you can see the Nutella is really displacing that chocolate. It's pushing it up and around the actual Nutella. And do not push your tip right to the bottom, because what will happen is you'll have Nutella coming out of the top of your chocolate, and you don't want that. So right in the middle, give a nice little squeeze. But don't bring it all the way to the top, because we're going to pour some more chocolate on the top here. So squeeze. And there we go. That looks good. And then let's give this a little bit of a tap. Now at this point, you can pop this into the fridge for about 5 minutes just to have the chocolate set up. But since this is a silicone mold, I'm not going to do so today. That looks good. So I've just zoomed out a little bit so you can see a little better. And just grab a little bit more chocolate and right onto the top. And if you don't put it in the fridge, just be very careful, because you don't want to mix with the Nutella. If you do put it in the fridge for about 5 minutes, it just solidifies everything a little bit, and then it makes it easy to get your chocolate in and not mix it in with that Nutella. But this is okay like this as well. Okay, that looks good. And then, again, tap. Okay, and that looks good. So now I'm going to pop this into the fridge. I'm going to leave this probably at least a half an hour. I want these to really set up well. Okay, so our chocolates have really chilled down now, and I'm just going to turn them over. And then what you want to do is just take one of your fingers, I'm going to use my thumb, and you just push and turn. So you just basically just push them out, kind of turn them out. And look at that, really nice. So I'll get all these out and I'll come back in a second. Alright, I've zoomed in a little bit just to show you how nice these look. And you can see on the bottom, a nice job as well. Nice and flat. Really good. A nice job. So, I know what you want me to do. You want me to cut into one, so let's do that next. So let's just cut into this. And there we have it. Let me get these a little closer, and let's zoom in. So I've zoomed in as much as I can. Hopefully you can see. So we've got the nice bottom layer of chocolate right here, and then you've got the top layer here, and then our beautiful Nutella filling on the inside. If I tilt this up, hopefully you can see that. Really lovely. And that's how easy it is to make Nutella filled milk chocolates. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you wish. I really do appreciate that. That's it for today, and I'll see you next time. need 2 cups of icing sugar, 1 standard package of cream cheese, and 3/4 of a cup of Nutella. 3 simple ingredients, so let's get started. For my first step, I'm going to get my cream cheese, which is at room temperature, into my large bowl. And this here is about 9 ounces of cream cheese. This is 250 grams. For my first step, I just want to cream this up a little bit before we start adding our other ingredients. You can see how easily this is breaking up. This is because this has been out for several hours, so it is at room temperature. So once that's mixed up, on to our next step. And then I'm going to get in all of our Nutella, and that is 3/4 of a cup. That is equal to exactly 210 grams. I actually weighed this out. 210 grams. So we'll get all of that in there. Oh, that smells really good. That's good. Then what we'll do, we're just going to mix this together before we add in our powdered sugar. So this is a really simple recipe, and it makes a really nice frosting. Alright, and then we're going to sift in all of our powdered sugar. So with a sieve, I'm going to sift in all of our powdered sugar. And as we know, powdered sugar has 3 different names: powdered sugar, icing sugar, or confectioner sugar. So 3 different names, but it's all the same sugar. So we'll just sift all of this in. And then for the rest, since it's white, we can just use our fingers and just push all of that through. Little shake, and there we go. We'll grab our mixer one last time. Speed number 1. You don't want to have a huge dust cloud with sugar flying all over the place. And now we're just going to slowly mix all of this in. And when you're mixing, you can feel free to turn your bowl and go up and down on the sides of the bowl to incorporate anything that's left on the side of the bowl. So up and down, and that just helps bring it all to the middle. Just like that. So once everything's well mixed, I'm just going to speed up my mixer just to get a little bit more air into our mixture. That's about 30 seconds of mixing, and there we have our really nice frosting. So let's see what this looks like. Check this out. Look how nice that is. Now if you put this in the fridge, this will firm up. However, if you find that it is a little bit on the soft side, you can just simply take some more icing sugar and just sift it in. But before you do that, I want you to place this into your fridge and just chill this a little bit. And that's what I'm going to do now, but I'm going to have to try a little bit just to see. I have to test it. Oh, that is good. That Nutella and the tang from the cream cheese, oh, so good. So I'm going to pop this into the fridge because I do want to show you the texture of this and how firm it becomes after it's been chilled. So here we are again. This is about a half an hour later, and I want to show you how firm this has become. Hopefully the camera can pick this up. This is a little bit too firm at this moment to be using as a frosting, but you can see how firm that this is. And this is perfect for frosting inside a cake or on top of a cake. Now if I took my mixer and I started mixing this up, we'll see what happens. I'll grab my mixer. We'll just get this mixed up a little bit. And let's check it out again. So you can see just by mixing it, I have really moved everything around, mixed it up well, and now you can see you are ready to frost the cake. And this here is really, really good. Look at that. And it's perfect. So that's it. I'm going to end the video here. I hope you enjoyed it. This is a really, really fun one to make. I hope you do try it at home. That's it for today. If you enjoyed my video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you wish. I really do appreciate that. That's it, and I'll see you next time. Today I'm going to be making a very fast and simple, no-fail microwave egg. I've got one egg, I've got a glass bowl, and I have a half a cup of cold water. For this recipe, I'm just going to measure this, just so you know exactly the size of bowl that I am using. 4.5 inches in diameter. So there we go. So the first thing I'm going to do, I want to get my water in there first. You can crack your egg directly into the bowl if you wish. I'm just going to crack it into a smaller bowl here first, just for this video, just like that. And then I'm just going to gently get that in there. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because I didn't want the egg to actually be sticking to the bottom of our bowl. There we go. Okay, so that's good. So this water is cold. I did measure it. It's exactly half a cup. So now what we're going to do is we're going to head over to the microwave. Alright, we're over at the microwave now. I'm going to get my egg in there and we'll close that up. Alright, I'm going to set this for 50 seconds and I'm going to start it right now. So I'm going to let that go and I'll be back when it's done. Alright, there we go. We'll take that out. And now the hot water, we'll keep cooking this and it's perfect. So we'll head over to our work area again. Okay, so there is our egg and it's perfectly done. So I'm just waiting for my toast to pop up and I'll be back in a second. Alright, there's my toast. I'm not buttering it today. I'm just going to depress this with my fork and then I'm going to grab my beautiful poached egg and just let that drain a little bit and right onto there. The magic with this is that the water, you're using cold water and I've measured it out so I know this is no fail. And what happens is the water buffers the egg so that the egg does not explode in the microwave. We'll hit that with a little pepper, a little salt, and there we go. And I will break into this just to show you. Let's zoom in a little bit. And let's just show you what this egg looks like. And look at that. If you want it more runny, 45 seconds. You want it a little bit harder, add another 5 seconds. But there you go. Beautiful. No fail. Microwave poached egg. I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you next time. Oh, that is good. One 1¾ cups of icing sugar, 12 ounces of chocolate chips, and I'm using semi-sweet chocolate chips in this recipe, a 1/4 cup of packed brown sugar, 1 cup of peanut butter, 1 cup of melted butter, and I'm using unsalted butter in this recipe. And our last ingredient, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Now if you are using salted butter, simply omit the salt from my recipe. So those are the ingredients, so let's get started. For our first step, we're going to get all of our graham cracker crumbs right into our nice sized bowl here. And using a large sized bowl is good because you're going to have a better area for mixing so that things don't come out of your bowl. To that, I'm going to add our little bit of salt. All of our butter. And then our peanut butter. And you can start mixing this a little bit before you add in each ingredient, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to put everything in and then slowly mix it together. You're going to quickly realize that it actually takes more time to measure out all your ingredients than actually make this recipe, because this is super fast. And then our brown sugar. And whenever you're measuring out brown sugar, make sure that you pack it into your measuring cup. So you want to get your brown sugar in, and as you put it in, just take the palm of your hand and just push so that it's really firm, and this gives you an accurate reading. And our last ingredient for the actual base, our powdered sugar, which is also called icing sugar or confectioner sugar. You don't have to sift it, but I am. It's a good habit to get into. And then you can just push the rest through. Perfect. I'll grab my mixer. Speed number 1. And I'm going to start slowly combining all of the ingredients together. So just take your time and get everything well combined. So once everything is mixed up nicely, we are ready to line our pan. I have a 9 by 13 pan lined with some parchment paper, and now we are ready to fill it. Just going to get all of this in here. And you're going to see right now that this is quite loose, but once we put it in the fridge for a while, it's going to firm right up. So make sure you use a spatula and make sure you get everything out of your bowl. You don't want to waste anything. I'm going to switch over to my little pie remover here. And just gently start getting all of this so that it's nice and even throughout. So you just want to get it nice and even all the way through. That looks pretty good. For my last step, we're going to heat our chocolate in the microwave. I'm just going to grab a larger bowl and dump it all in. And I'm going to zap this in my microwave until it's all melted. And I'm going to use the defrost mode for that. So our chocolate is ready to go. And an important thing I must say is whenever you are heating chocolate in your microwave, always use the defrost mode. That way you will not scorch your chocolate. The other thing that's important to note is that we did not put this into the fridge. If we put this into the fridge and this was ice cold, when you put the chocolate on, it's going to harden. It's going to want to get really clumpy. And so right now this is at room temperature. Okay, so we have not put this in the fridge yet. So now we're just going to get all of our chocolate onto the top. I'm going to switch over to a spatula. I want to make sure I get every little bit of chocolate out of my bowl. And there are no rules with the chocolate. If you want to have more chocolate, just heat a little bit more up and pour it on. And that's good. I'm going to grab myself a little spatula and just start spreading this evenly all over the top. Oh, this smells so good. And as you can see, there's quite a thick layer of chocolate, so I don't think you need more than this. If you don't want this much, you can decrease the amount of chocolate a little bit if you wish. I think this is good. And when you bite into one of these, you're going to think about a certain type of chocolate bar, and you're going to say, that tastes just like it. And that looks good. And now at this point, we're going to pop this into our fridge for a good hour, hour and a half. So this is about an hour and a half later. This is nicely chilled now. We'll remove our little metal pins. And I'll grab the parchment paper. And look at this. You just pull it out. Perfect. The parchment paper really makes everything so easy. If you don't have parchment for this, you could use wax paper as well. You can see how easily it just comes off the edges as well. There we have it. So let's cut into this. Oh, nice. Now you can see mine's cracking a little bit. If you leave this out for maybe 20 minutes, it won't crack. It's going to warm up a little bit. But I'm just going to show you this. Look at this. Let me just zoom in a little bit. So I've zoomed in just a little bit to show you this. Our beautiful base and then our nice coating of chocolate on the top. And that was semi-sweet chocolate that I used. You have to take a little bite. Oh, that's really good. Really, really nice. So I'll just show you how this works out when we use a knife with a serrated edge versus a chef's knife. I'm going to take this and I'm going to use a sawing motion like I would be cutting wood. And I'll just get on there and I'll show you the difference. And there we have it. So this is still cold. However, using a different type of knife, I get a beautiful edge. And you can see this one did not crack. So what I'll do is just cut a few up, I'll put them on a plate, and then I'm going to really zoom in. So I've just zoomed in a little bit so you can see a little closer up. So we have that really nice peanut butter filling at the bottom, and then our semi-sweet topping here. One thing I'll mention, these are very, very sweet, so you're better off cutting tiny squares rather than very, very large squares. So this is a pretty easy recipe. No baking required. I hope you try it out. That's it for today. If you enjoyed my video, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you wish. I do appreciate that. That's it for today, and I'll see you next time. Two tablespoons of olive oil, that is equal to 30 milliliters or 20 grams. 1 3/4 cups of hot water, that is equal to 438 grams or 438 milliliters. 4 teaspoons of regular white granulated sugar, that's equal to 20 milliliters or 20 grams. And our last ingredient, 2 1/4 teaspoons of active dry yeast, that's equal to 8 grams. So those are the ingredients, so let's get started. So for today's video, I'm going to be using my KitchenAid mixer. I've got my bowl here. I'm going to get all of my flour right into the bowl. And then all of our salt, our sugar, and our yeast. I'm going to grab a whisk and just mix all of that together. Perfect. And then I'm going to add my water, and my water is exactly at 120 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to pour that in. And our last ingredient, our olive oil. And that's it for the recipe. I'm going to bring in my KitchenAid I'll set that up and I'll be back in 1 second. So I've got my bowl attached. I'll just get my dough hook on there. Bring our bowl up into position. And now I'm just going to start kneading this. So I'm going to let this go for about 2 minutes and then I'll come back. So this is about 2 minutes later. My dough ball is starting to form. So at this point, I'm going to increase my speed and I want to knead this for about 5 minutes. So as you increase the speed, more of that flour starts getting incorporated into the ball. And it looks very, very dry right now. But in a couple of minutes, this is going to turn into a beautiful dough. And you can already see it starting to become more moist. So as it starts kneading, it starts spreading the moisture throughout the whole dough ball. So you can see already, it looked dry and now it's coming back to a really, really nice texture. So I'm going to let this go for about 5 minutes and then I'll come back and we'll continue on with the recipe. So this is about 5 minutes of kneading and my dough looks really, really nice. I'm going to take my finger and I'll just touch. I can see it's a little bit tacky, it's a little bit sticky, but it's not too dry and that's exactly what I want. I'm going to remove the hook. I'll bring this out and we'll check out our dough. So I'll remove the hook. And then we'll just get our dough out. And look at that nice dough. There's a little bit at the bottom. I'll just get that out. And that looks really nice. I'll just zoom in a little bit just to show you this a little closer up. So you can see when I press it, look, it's not sticking to my hands, which is perfect. The more flour that you add to your dough means it becomes more dense and more dry, and then it doesn't want to rise as nicely. So at this point, we need to let this rise one more time. If we cut this in half and made our 2 loaves right now, when you bake your bread and cut into it later on, you're going to find large air pockets, and that means it's a good indication that somebody didn't do a second rise on their bread. So I'm just going to spray this with a little bit of oil and I'll be back. So I've just sprayed this with some cooking spray. If you don't have cooking spray, you can just line it with a little bit of oil and just wipe it all around inside the bowl. And you can put this into a new bowl if you wish. I am just using the same bowl just so that I don't have to clean up as many bowls. So I'm just getting it all round, right in. And then I'm going to spray the top. So I've just sprayed the top. Hopefully you can see that. And what that does is it inhibits a crust forming on the dough. If a crust forms, it doesn't want to rise. So that looks nice and moist right now. I'm going to cover that with a tea towel and then I'm going to put this over near my stove and I'm going to leave that there for about 40 minutes. So this is 40 minutes later. I'm going to show you what our dough looks like now. So you can see it has doubled in volume. Looks really, really nice. And here's always the fun part. Take your hand and just give it a nice push. Look at that. Oh, it feels good. You can see how nice this dough is. Look at this. And I'm just going to bring it right out. Look at that. Really, really nice. So at this point, I want to split this into 2 equal size pieces of dough. And I've got a little scale here. And to make this super easy for me, I'm going to do everything in grams as I always do. So I'm going to start working on this. So I'm just going to eyeball this to begin with. Cut it. throw it on here. 475. 671. 582. This one was 475. We're getting closer. 562. And then we got that little piece left. I'll just cut it in half, one there and one there, and we're done. And then I'm just going to take them, and I'm just going to start getting my little shape. You can see how nice this dough is. Really, really nice dough. I know I'm not supposed to use the word beautiful too much, but this really is beautiful dough. That's good. I'm going to be using a couple of little baking pans here. I'm just going to spray these with some vegetable spray. So I've just sprayed these with a vegetable spray. If you don't have that at home, you can just put some vegetable oil in and just take your hands and just make sure that all of your corners and everything are well oiled. And then what I'm going to do here, I'll work on the first one. I want to get this nice, so I just fold in the edges, just make a nice size, just kind of estimate it. And the nicer it looks before it goes in, the better it's going to look when it's baked. So just play with it until you think you got it right, and then just get it in there. And that's number one. And then number two. So kind of look at it and try to even it out. So look at here, here. That looks good. And then get it and just get right in there. And then I'm going to spray both of these again with vegetable spray on the top. There's one. And then two. And I forgot to mention, but the first rise, I let the dough stay in my KitchenAid bowl for a total of 40 minutes. And now I'm going to let these go for about a half an hour, and then we're going to pop it into a 375 degrees for 40 minutes. So I'm going to leave these here. So I'm going to put a tea towel over these to keep them warm, and I'm going to let them go for 15 minutes. So I'm going to put a timer on 15 minutes, and then I'm going to remove the towel because as these start to rise, I don't want them to touch the towel. So 15 minutes like that, I'll let them rise up, and then I'm going to come back and show you what they look like. So here we are again, 30 minutes later, and my dough is ready to go. I just dropped the camera a little bit so that you could see how nicely our dough has risen. At this point, I want to get these into the oven, 375 degrees Fahrenheit, and I'm going to bake these for 40 minutes. So here we go. Just before I take them out of the oven, I just wanted to show you what they look like. So that's 40 minutes exactly in my 375 degree oven. And they look really, really good. So I'm going to pull those out and we'll head back over to our work area. Okay, so here's my first one and my second one. So right now these are extremely hot right out of the oven, and the first thing that you want to do is you want to get these out of your tins right away. And the reason for that is if you leave it in the tin, there's a lot of moisture, a lot of heat that's inside the bread, and it's trying to come out. And what will happen is if you leave it in your tin, even for 10-15 minutes, it'll actually start coming out, and the bottom and the sides of your bread can actually start getting a little bit wet. So you want to get those right out of your tins right away. And you can just see bread always just pops out just like that. Really, really simple. You can see how nice these are. And you want to put it on a cooling rack where you have air going underneath. Because if you place this directly on, your work surface that doesn't have any airflow underneath, you can actually get the bottom would start getting a little bit soft. So just like that. Ooh, these are nice. Very, very hot. So at this point I'm going to let these completely cool down, which is going to take a good couple of hours, and then I'll cut into one and show you what it looks like inside. So this is about 2 hours later. My bread has completely cooled, and at this point I'll just show you what it looks like all over. We've got some nice texture going on, really, really nice. You can hear it's hollow, listen, which tells you that the bread is really nicely done inside. So that sounds good. So let's cut into one of these. A little cutting board over, make sure we're on camera. And let's cut into this. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So as you can see here, you can see all of the little air pockets are really nice, and this is because we let our dough rise that second time. If you don't let it rise that second time, you're gonna get air bubbles that are a lot bigger. But there, that you can see really, really nice. Let's take another slice. You can hear that nice crunch on the top. Look at that. Really nice. That smells so good. There's nothing nicer than freshly baked bread at home. Look at this. Really, really good. So that's it for this really fun video. I love making bread. I hope you try this at home, and I hope me showing you how to do it has given you a little bit more confidence so that you can try it at home as well. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed my video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you wish. I really do appreciate that. That's it, and I'll see you next time. That's good.